Genesis G80 Electrified offers a more sensibly priced choice to those in the premium large saloon sector looking to make the switch to a full EV. It lacks the pizzazz of obvious rivals, but there's plenty here to like.
Most manufacturers use the term electrified to designate petrol engines with an ineffectual, mild hybrid tinselling of battery power. However, Korean luxury brand Genesis, different in lots of ways from its rivals, is different again here, using the term electrified for full EV models, also available in full combustion form, like this big G80 Electrified luxury saloon. But the brand won't need to persist with this titling for long, because from 2025 it will only sell full EVs. This one fits in the segment for large premium badge saloons like the Mercedes E-Class. The full EV Mercedes equivalent to that E-Class model, the EQE, costs vastly more than its combustion stablemate. But the G80 Electrified provides an appealing full EV option in this sector without the full-on price increase. Spec for spec, it costs pretty much what you'd pay for an equivalent combustion-powered large posh saloon from a rival brand in this sector. Sounds like an interesting proposition. So what's it like? Well, once you've located the slightly obscured silver EV start-stop button and pressed it, virtual needles perambulate across the virtual dials ahead of you, and a small green ready sign appears below the right-hand power meter. Time to experience the Korean definition of premium EV luxury. Unlike the combustion-fueled G80, there's no option of a rear-driven powertrain here, so the G80 Electrified comes only with all-wheel drive. That AWD system, though, works rather differently than it does with the fossil-fueled models, with separate motors driving each axle, each generating 185 PS and collectively generating a rather impressive 700 Newton-meters of torque. That's good enough to propel the car to 62 miles an hour in 4.9 seconds, which, to give you some class perspective, is around 2.5 seconds quicker than a Mercedes EQE 300 rival. Of more interest, though, to a likely owner is the projected driving ranges between charges, WLTP rated at a fairly unremarkable 323 miles between charges of the 87.2 kilowatt-hour battery. It's up to 388 miles for the EQE 300, but that's a lighter, less powerful rear-driven model. There are 3 main selectable driving modes, all of which alter the instrument cluster graphics ahead of you, assuming you specified the optional 3D display that most G80 customers want. Eco is the default setting with sky blue needles. There are polished silver dial needles when you select Comfort, and glowing orange ones when you choose Sport. Holding down the center console drive mode button connects you to a 4th setting, Snow, for slippery conditions. Special noise cancelling technology on this EV G80 variant improves refinement, reducing tyre roar by using microphones and sensors to project inverted sound waves through the audio speakers. You'll also appreciate the electrified G80's smart recuperation braking system, which analyses your driving habits and road conditions to alter the level of energy recuperation. Or you can maximise that manually via 3 deceleration settings: slower or smooth, medium and strong. The latter a one-pedal style driving mode that'll see you hardly ever having to use the brake, so abrupt is off-throttle deceleration. As far as handling is concerned, you won't be expecting this to be any sort of sports saloon, particularly given that it weighs over 2.3 tonnes, and it isn't. Unlike the brand's larger G90 model offered in other markets, there's no air suspension, but adaptive damping is standard, and there's a clever ride preview system working via a camera built into the windscreen that primes the suspension for upcoming bumps. The result isn't exactly magic carpet-like, but progress is nevertheless quite serene, particularly on the highway, where the optional Innovation Pack's Highway Driving Assist feature can learn your driving behaviour adapt the car's driving style and make autonomous lane changes. The main visual difference with this G80 Electrified model over its combustion stablemates is the fact that this car's usual signature crest grille has evolved into an aerodynamic appendage that features an inverted G matrix pattern and incorporates a hidden electric charging port, all of which is like its GV70 Electrified SUV stablemate. This G80 Saloon certainly has plenty of road presence, primarily due to its huge front grille and bisected LED headlamps. Some will see shades of Bentley Flying Spur here, encouraged perhaps by the rather similar winged Genesis bonnet badge. As you can see from this profile perspective, size-wise, this car competes against full executive EV models like the Mercedes EQE. Large 19-inch wheels are standard, and detailed touches include silver strakes above the front wheel arch, and this lower silver band that runs right to the rear bumper. Here we've also got the brand's optional solar roof panel fitted. The rear has shades of Mercedes CLS 4-door coupe and looks almost hatch-like. The split LED tail lamps are separated by spaced Genesis lettering. Let's take a look inside. Where the differences over a combustion-powered G80 are difficult to spot. As with the petrol model, there's a very high-end feel thanks to touches like this stitched leatherette dash top, open-pore wood inlays and a 4-spoke bi-colour steering wheel with silver energy-harvesting paddles. The quilted leather seats are superb and the build quality seems impeccable. Genesis also includes standard double glazing for the front side windows, while textured two-tone column stalk tips, a faux ivory circular control pad and arcing door panels complete the high-end ambience. A variety of eco-friendly materials have been used around the interior, completing a design that embodies Genesis' vision for sustainable luxury from the inside out. The dashboard cluster screen is 8 inches in size as standard, but almost all G80 customers tend to specify the optional Innovation Pack, which upgrades that to this larger 12.3-inch 3D TFT setup. That pack also includes a head-up display and surround view monitor cameras that spring up in the dial spaces when you indicate. The main difference with this EV variant is the cluster's right-hand power meter with its power and charge sections. In between the two main dials is a data section with trip computer, attention level, speed sign and tyre pressure readouts. Plus there's a consumption meter at the bottom of the display giving an efficiency reading in miles per kilowatt hour. All the main EV stuff though can be found on this huge 14.5-inch centre screen, which has a dedicated, very detailed EV section, as well as navigation, radio, media and phone segments, plus you can control seat settings too. As usual with the Genesis, there's a connected services segment which covers weather, calendar and vehicle diagnostic info and can even allow you to follow scores from your favourite sports team. There's also a Genesis Live section that gives live traffic, parking and charging station info, and you get the usual little Hyundai Motor Group screen touches too, like a voice memo feature, a valley mode and a quiet mode that switches off the speakers in the back so as not to disturb drowsy rear seat occupants. Plus a sounds of nature setting that allows you to play audio themes like an ocean, a forest, even a crackling fire or a rainy day. You can control climate functions from the centre screen too, but mostly you'll be doing so using this smart and informative climate screen in the middle of the centre stack. What else? Well, the seats are superbly supportive and can be fitted with the brand's Ergo Motion system, which sees them electrically adapt to cornering G-forces. All-round visibility is excellent, and there's plenty of storage space as well. That includes this twin-lidded bin between the seats with a 12-volt port and a lift-out tray. A lidded cup holder area is just ahead of this, and beyond that, there's a further lidded compartment under the centre stack with a wireless charger and twin USB ports. The decently sized glove box has a pen clip And Genesis hasn't forgotten an overhead sunglasses compartment. Plus, there are ticket clips in the sun visors and rather small door pockets. Time to take a seat in the rear. There's very comfortable space for two adults in the second row, where the central tunnel has been lowered and you can really stretch out, though headroom isn't especially generous. Now here we've got the optional executive pack fitted, which gives you these twin rear screens and adds a control box to the centre armrest with switches that allow you to control them via a whole range of menu options, including climate, map, weather, navigation and audio settings. From this control panel, you can also control the rear sunblind and the seat heating, plus the armrest's big centre bin incorporates a USB port and twin headphone sockets and pop-out cup holders at its end. Manually operated side window blinds are also included as part of the pack. Many customers will also have specified the optional convenience pack, which gives you this 3-zone climate control panel. Even if you don't stretch to all these extra cost niceties, it's still pretty luxurious back here, and the little touches please, like this polished silver B-pillar coat hook and reading lights built into the silver-trimmed grab handles. If you're sitting behind the front seat passenger, there are also electrical controls on the seat side, so that if there's no front occupant ahead of you, you can easily free up a little extra legroom. There are seat back pockets and generous rear quarter-light windows that make sure that there's an airy ambience. Unlike with some EVs, all your luggage will need to go in the boot. The lack of an engine hasn't freed up any space beneath the bonnet. Now, this powered boot lid comes only with that convenience pack we mentioned. Once it's raised, it's immediately obvious that there's quite a compromise in cargo space here over the combustion model. You can see how the further section isn't quite as spacious. The stats tell us that the 424-litre boot you get in an ordinary G80 falls to 354 litres in size here. Still, there's a bit more room in the cargo floor, and there are netted areas to the left and right. The ceiling part of the boot area is finished in painted metal, which doesn't seem very premium, but does have a couple of large lights built into it, and you get 4 floor tie-down points. You'll need around £70,000 for a G80 Electrified, and there's only one trim level offered: Plush Luxury. That's around £2,000 more than a base Mercedes EQE 300. But to spec that Merc up to G80 Electrified Luxury standard would cost you around £86,000. Plus, that Merc lacks this G80's all-wheel drive system and is much slower. Genesis might not be charging much of a premium for this full electric model compared to segment rivals, but the premium is pretty large over an identically equipped G80 2.5-litre rear-driven petrol luxury model, around £21,000. Still, this electrified variant comes very well equipped for that. Tick off 19-inch alloy wheels, quad LED headlamps, leather upholstery, a stitched leatherette dashboard, heated front seats, open pore real wood interior trim, an 8-inch instrument cluster and a wireless phone charger. Infotainment is covered off by a 14.5-inch central screen with navigation, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring, voice recognition and Genesis connected services. Driving stuff includes the brand's clever Preview electronic control suspension setup, which prepares the damping for poor surfaces. On to options. Here we've been trying the solar roof, plus you may want to consider softer Napa leather upholstery, and you'll want the extra cost 7-pin vehicle to load plug if you want to regularly power electrical items from the car's battery. A popular extra cost addition is the convenience pack, which gives you a heated steering wheel, a powered boot lid, a premium cabin filter and 3-zone climate control. The optional comfort seat pack gives you the brand's Ergo Motion driver's seat, which responds to cornering forces. Plus, that pack also includes electric cushion extension adjustment for the driver, ventilated front seats, driver seat memory settings, and electric steering column adjustment. In this case, we've got the comfort seat pack combined with the desirable executive pack, which will really spoil rear seat passengers. The executive pack adds a centre armrest with a control box, heated rear seats, dual rear monitors, an electric rear sunblind, side window curtains, a soft close system for the doors, and laminated rear glass. If they haven't already blown their budget with features like those, most customers find nearly £4,000 more to specify the innovation pack that we've been trying here, which includes a larger 12.3-inch 3D TFT version of the instrument cluster screen, plus a head-up display, surround view monitor displays, adaptive dual front LED headlamps, and the brand's remote smart parking assist system, which allows you to park the car remotely from the key fob. The innovation pack also includes a package of extra camera safety features, including forward collision avoidance assist, a junction turning and crossing feature, a blind spot view monitor, and the brand's highway driving assist system. Genesis doesn't have a network of UK dealerships. Instead, everything's done via so-called Genesis Studios, which will be shop fronts in upmarket shopping centres. One's already been opened in London and others will follow. But you don't have to go to one of those if you don't want to. You simply connect with Genesis online, then you'll be allocated your own Genesis personal assistant who will take you through the sales process from test drive to delivery, and they'll deal with aftercare as well. This assistant won't be salaried on commission as an ordinary car salesperson would be, so you won't get any hard sell. As we said in our driving section, the car gets twin electric motors powered by an 87.2 kilowatt-hour battery, which, when fully charged, delivers a rather unremarkable 323-mile WLTP-rated driving range. As with all EVs from the Hyundai Motor Group, the powertrain here is underpinned by an 800-volt electric architecture, which means that, unlike most of its rivals, the car can use ultra-fast 350 kilowatt chargers, such as those provided by Ionity. In the unlikely event you can find one of those, a 10 to 80% battery top-up will take just 18 minutes. A V2L feature is available, which works via utility mode to supply up to 3.6 kilowatts of power from the battery pack to charge auxiliary devices, say a drone or an electric scooter for instance, or even another EV. The centre screen has an EV section incorporating a whole range of features allowing you to make the most of the battery drive system. The screen you'll probably use most frequently depicts the road ahead as a ribbon with battery charge, nearest charging station and range info with the air conditioning on or off. There's also a battery status section showing charging times for both DC and AC chargers, charging limits for which can be set by yet another screen. You can monitor the cumulative power generated by solar roof if you've got that fitted. And there's an energy consumption section split into driving, climate, electronics and battery care segments. And there's a battery conditioning mode which maintains driving and fast charging performance by optimizing the battery temperature in colder winter months. From the EV section, you can also manage your smart recuperation energy harvesting settings. If you're converting to an electric vehicle from a previous combustion model, you'll obviously need to factor in the cost of an EV charger for your home and perhaps also your workplace. There's still complexity around the best charging hardware to choose and who is eligible for a government grant. And obviously the cost can vary depending on the distance from your main meter to the charger and other factors. There's lots of advice out there, of course, to guide you. We consulted plugmein.com, who offer customers everything from choice of charger to installation and ongoing maintenance. They've advised us that even with increased energy prices, the cost of running an EV and charging it at home on a dedicated tariff is still only around half the cost of running your previous petrol or diesel car. Like every Genesis, this one will come covered by a generous 5-year care plan, which includes scheduled servicing for 5 years or 50,000 miles. With each service visit, Genesis will collect and return the car to your door. And this also applies to any necessary work required, including warranty work. You simply contact your Genesis personal assistant to make it happen, who can also arrange a courtesy car. Try asking for any of that to be included in the price from a rival premium brand model. The 5-year care plan also includes updates to in-car navigational maps, and there's a complimentary subscription to Genesis Connected Services, which will allow you to access information services from your phone to digitally enhance your ownership experience. EVs are no longer rare on our roads, but this one will be. Most of the few who somehow have their hearts set on a full-sized luxury Genesis EV will probably prefer the identically engineered G80 Electrified SUV. In lots of ways though, this G80 Electrified model would be a better bet. It rolls less, rides better, goes further between charges, and is rare and different. But it's also old school in a class increasingly dedicated to futuristic thinking. If you don't mind that, you'll get a lot for your money here. Plus, there's no need to spend a fortune speccing the car up, because just about everything you might want comes included, along with the usual impressive Genesis after-sales care package. For most, all that won't be enough to sway them towards a G80 Electrified, but a certain few will find in this car everything they need and nothing they don't.